Hey, good morning. Good morning. What's up? It's Kyle Anderson, Bama Football of YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let me know where you guys are watching from inside the comment box. Alabama now 5-1 on the season following a 26-20 victory over the Texas A&M Aggies. Let me know where you're watching from and give me a Roll Tide inside the comment box. Things continue to go well for the Alabama Crimson Tide, winning 3 consecutive SEC games and 2 very difficult games on the road. Playing at Stark Vegas was difficult with the Cowbells, and then Alabama does it again, this time in front of 108,000 screaming Aggie fans. Alabama comes out with the dub, now 5-1, 3-0 in SEC play atop the SEC West. Today, I want to take your calls as well as tonight. So how Sunday usually works is I have a 12 p.m. show on Sunday where we recap the game. We talk about what we learned. I also have the videos, the press conferences from last night, and I want to take your call, get your assessment, and then I have my additional call-in show on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time where you guys can call in. We'll break down a little bit of what we learned from A&M, but kind of a compilation of the season through 6 games of the season, as well as start to look at the next game, which is Arkansas, which will be 11 a.m. Central Time. It's Alabama's homecoming game. The Hogs coming off a loss against Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin yesterday. With that said, let's go right to the phone lines. And we got a 251 calling in right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Anderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in from Mobile.
Hey, man, the defense is definitely elite. It is. I'm ready to say Alabama's defense is the best in college football. I'm ready to make that call for you now. Mm-hmm. Amazing how when a certain guy whose name starts with P and ends with Golding leaves, we all of a sudden get a defense. We all of a sudden get a defense that we believe is the best in college football. They've gone from being just good enough to being elite again. By elite, my definition of elite is we're the top 5 at least, on paper, but maybe 1, 2, or 3 with the eye test. This team, I think, is number 1 with the eye test. On paper, it may not be statistically number 1, but the eye test is also is a factor in there. But the eye test for the defense is we're the best. I think they dominated that second half, and that means the quarterback for A&M was running for his life. Yeah, and that's safety at the end. Goodness gracious, that reminds you of old Alabama football, where the defense takes over and say, "Okay, this is as far as you go. No more. Game over. You give us a couple of more points, Miro, and this game's over." That's what the defense did yesterday. It was just a wonderful thing to watch. Finally, that kind of a defense is back again. Milroe played well, and he said he had to have the best game of his college career, and he did. Mistakes, I wish we had a few mistakes, but we overcame them primarily because the defense just wouldn't allow A&M to capitalize on those mistakes. So that helps us out a lot. But he had some good play, really consistent. There was a couple of hiccups, but he found something with Burton, which I kind of was wondering why it wasn't there with Burton and Bryce. I don't understand why Bryce and Burton could have a connection last season. I was really surprised by that. But Milroe and Burton has found that connection, and that was a great thing to watch. Burton, which is what you want in the biggest game on the biggest stage. You stepped your game up to another level. That's what we needed at the time. We most needed it. This was the worst matchup for Alabama as far as a really good defensive line versus our offensive line. It was all right. Yeah, we got our offensive line a little shaky, and Texas A&M defensive line is really good. How's that going to play out? And we're on the road, 110,000 people all wanting your death. and you still prevailed on him, and even Burton got a little cocky, maybe a little too cocky. But that's kind of attitude you got to have if you want to pull these kind of games out. And I mean, it was just a great thing to watch. We finally believe that this team has what it takes. If they can just avoid mistakes, they can beat anybody, including Georgia. If they play mistake-free football, they do beat anybody, including Georgia. So it's there. It's just, can we avoid the mistakes? And even with all the mistakes, we still managed to overcome those and win the game. Mistake-free football yesterday, it would have been an absolute blowout of Texas A&M. If they played, maybe by mistake-free, maybe. Instead of 14, it's 4 penalties, and no interceptions, and no hiccups at the end. Throwing the ball to the man when you're supposed to run the clock out. You have to explain to me, Kyle, what was the deal there? Because I'm still not quite sure. I've heard other people say, "Hey, that wasn't called by the offensive coordinator. Milroe just saw a wide open man." Then okay, that's fine. But why you one hopping it if he's so wide open?
Well, and I was thinking about that this morning. So 2 plays, and we're on with Robert from Mobile, Alabama. Call-in line is open if you want to call in. Call-in line at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-1994. Robert, his first point talking about the Alabama defense, and I think the defense is absolutely elite. A big component to that is certainly Malachi Moore, who went out with a twisted ankle. So I would probably, say that Alabama is going to be without him, for this next game against Arkansas. But just as I said before, Jeff Allen does such a great job getting these guys back up into shape. I mean, you saw how short-lived Deontay Lawson was out, and then he's back playing after missing just one single game against Mississippi State. I thought he played well. The defense overall is great because the secondary is playing at such a high level. You're starting to see more of the defensive line. In fact, did you know last night with the defense, it was Tim Keenan that led the entire team with defensive tackles with 8. We talked about Tim Keenan going in his continued high-level play. And how about Justin Mbogbe? He played fantastic as well. I mean, those guys up front dominated Texas A&M. And like you said, when Alabama got that safety, that was some old Alabama football. And just like Coach Saban said during his post-game press conference, Caleb Downs, who, by the way, leads the entire team with tackles, comes up with his second interception in 2 games and at a really pivotal time. I thought there was 2 points in this game that really took the sails out of College Station. And number one was Jalen Milroe when he connected with Isaiah Bond for a 52-yard score. You saw the crowd silence. And then with that interception, you saw the crowd silence. So the team played elite. The defense did a fantastic job. But how about Jalen Milroe? I mean, people wanted to see, can Jalen Milroe beat you over the top? Yesterday, 321 yards. Jermaine Burton played outstanding. And look, people were like, I think with Jermaine Burton, this is the main thing. If you rewatch my videos going into this game, I said that Burton was going to play big and Isaiah Bond. Each of those guys did. Hit it right on the money, 100%. the reason that Jermaine Burton is playing like this is, number one, he's made a big leap from last year to this year, but also how many critics did that young man have at the end of last season going in this season? Nobody wanted to see Jermaine Burton coming back. I think that made him work harder. I think he's pissed off for greatness, and you saw that yesterday with that display. Look, I get it. Some of the off the field stuff. I mean, look, he's showcasing that he's pissed off for greatness. And to be honest, sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. You want those guys to play at a high level, of course, some of the off the field stuff after the game, like flipping the crowd off or whatever he's doing. But like the guy played big, 9 receptions. Isaiah Bond played well. You got to get him the football. And then the last play, I was thinking about that as well. Like when Jalen Milroe was able to connect with Jace McClellan, and Jace McClellan like tapped the ball up and then caught the ball for extra first down. That was gigantic. And then, yeah, right. And then after that, when Jalen Milroe threw the football and like one hopped it, I think that's on Jalen Milroe, because when he came to the sideline, Coach Saban was ripping him, right? Overall, the team played great. 321 yards by Jalen Milroe. Totally fantastic. But the pre-snap penalties, there was 14 penalties yesterday for Alabama, 14. And in those games, they have lost against Texas, they lost against LSU, and they lost against Tennessee when they had penalties of this caliber, right? 9 of those penalties yesterday were pre-snap penalties. I get it. It's 108,000, but still, we're still seeing some problems with that snap count issue, and it's something that needs to be taken care of. Robert, get one more point in before we move to our next caller.
Yeah, some of those penalties, though, I mean, one of those false starts, it was like I didn't see a single person move. Where did you get that false start from? And that crackback block, it was like, seriously, dude? That was really worth a flag on a play like that.
That
really?
was, I almost tweeted out. I didn't say it, and I don't really tweet during the games at all. In fact, I didn't yesterday. I almost said something about that when they blocked the punt, because Dallas Turner was ahead of the guy. That is not a clip at all. Like, he wasn't behind him. Now, with that said, Dallas Turner didn't even have to make that move to block that guy, because Broswell was already out in front. And what about, there was some times that Jermaine Burton was getting literally his arm pulled, and a face mask at the same time, and some of those plays weren't called. I cannot believe that this team was able to win with 99 yards of penalties. Just unbelievable. And some of that was just penalties not being called or whatever the case was, but the pre-snap penalties, you got to kill them. Alabama now has had 6 touchdowns taken back this year. Six touchdowns. Anything else, Robert?
Yeah, that's unprecedented. Yeah, that's unprecedented. But the last one, again, that so-called crackback block. I mean, some of this, a good 3 or 4 of those penalties are referees being a little too picky in Alabama.
100%.
And that's beginning to be a trend. Maybe Nick Saban needs to mention that in a press conference or something.
Yeah.
That's getting ridiculous. But great game overall, and I'll look this for you tonight. Catch you later, man.
All right, man. See you, Robert. Take it easy. All right, Robert batting leadoff for our show today. I keep saying good morning, but it's already 12:13 p.m. Central Time. Alabama now 5-1 on the season. Milroe throws for 321. Alabama penalty plagued once again, 14 for 99 yards. Defense played big. Jimbo Fisher talked about some of the momentum changes. I guess one of them, too, happened in the first quarter where Texas A&M was putting together a pretty good drive by Max Johnson, and Alabama was able to come up with the stuff on 4th and 1. I knew they should have kicked the field goal. I mean, look, you play to win, but you play 4 points as well. And I knew as soon as Alabama made that defensive stop, the defense came through a couple times yesterday, that was going to give Alabama momentum, and that it did. And this was another piece, too, of something that I found really interesting is James Burnip goes out, who's the punter, right? And that first punt, that was his worst punt of the game or the season. It was like a 29-yard punt, completely shanked it. So then he hits a booming punt. I don't even know how far that next punt was, like 55 yards or something like that. Then he goes out because Anaya Smith almost, he like broke everyone's ankles. And then who comes in? It's Will Reichard. Will Reichard's the punter as well. So he comes in, and I thought he played well punting the football. Man, just completely, like that's like peak athleticism. That's an all-time leading scorer in Alabama history is Will Reichard. Please give that guy some appreciation. I know you guys do, but man, it's just great to see him performing at such a high level. 601, let's do this. Hey, how's it going? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
How's it going, Kyle? It's Jason Pensacola.
Hey, what's up, Jay? I appreciate you, man. All right, Alabama now 5-1. Milroe throws for 321, 14 penalties. Malachi Moore tweaks his ankle. Where you want to start, man?
You can start anywhere. I mean, first of all, I want to say I would like to see Isaiah Bond as a punt returner. Because Kool-Aid ain't it. Like, he did good last season. Oh, I tell you what, I would even like to see Terrion Honor as a punt. And you see what happened last time? He had a touchdown. And Kool-Aid just ain't it when it comes to punt returns. The last couple games, he done almost muffed it and almost lost it. Kind of punt return.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kool-Aid as anything else but a punt returner. Also, I know you seen when he tried to punch the ball out instead of tackling him.
Yep.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, that was crazy. I am proud of our defense, though. Our defense took the game over, especially in the second half. I feel like this team, past Alabama teams or second half teams, this team is seeming to turn into a second half team.
Uh-huh.
First half they had their mess ups and everything else, but the second half they go in there, they snap out of it and they clean it up. I like that. Jalen Milroe, people doubted him so much, talking about he can't throw the ball in any minute passes. I am so proud of him, and he still got a lot of progression to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I give props to do. I was so happy that he did so good. I stood up almost the whole game in my truck watching the game. I had to park. I said, I'm from the park and watch this game, and I was happy. At the end, I heard Nick Saban say, "Jalen." He got out to Jalen. He said he cannot get tackled. I read his lips. He was like, "Jalen, make sure." He was like, I got you.
Hey, Jay, so I have a couple questions that I'd like to pose to some callers today. So if you don't mind, I got a couple. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Who is your MVP from yesterday's game?
Jermaine Burton.
Yep, Jermaine Burton. I mean,
he came in the play.
Right, and so my third question, we'll just jump right to that then. What did you think about the play of Jermaine Burton? Because coming into this game, the guy only had like 8 receptions. He had 9 yesterday for 196 yards.
I feel like they didn't play him in the Mississippi State game just because they didn't need him.
Yep.
I do feel like they was being vanilla when it came to the. And see, I think that's exactly what they did, because he played vanilla in the whole Mississippi State game, just so Texas A&M couldn't study their film. And that's exactly what Jimbo Fisher said. He said, hey, they haven't been doing that lately. They haven't did that before. They was getting out quick. They was doing that because they didn't have any film to study on that. So I feel like they were being vanilla on purpose. And I mean, it just makes more sense to me.
Next question. Thoughts? Well, you kind of gave me some thoughts on Jalen Milroe, but let me ask you from this perspective. Now that you've seen him throw for 321, are you completely sold on Jalen Milroe? I mean, I know you've been good on Jalen Milroe, but I mean, 3-21, that's got to silence even more critics that he had about his deep ball. And the great thing about him yesterday, and with Tommy Rees, is they let him throw the ball. Like they let him air it out. Finally, just like go out there and throw the ball. And I like that.
Exactly.
They let him go. Literally, they let him go. And I think that with what we saw yesterday, if it's Bond, if it's Burton, let those guys, because what's going to happen is, since they're going to crowd the box and challenge Jalen Milroe, you're going to have more man coverage situations on the outside where those are contested balls. So Milroe, get the ball there and let your wide receiver make a play, which those guys did yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. One thing, I don't know if you remember, but I was the only caller that said 28-20. And it was 26-20.
Yeah, that was a good score prediction. Okay. So give me your take on Milroe real fast before I ask you my fourth question.
Miro, I feel like his progression is getting better every game, and I do feel like the sacks could be avoided. Texas A&M defense, they when it came to the run, that was tough. Like we couldn't do anything. But I feel like if you just throw the ball off to the crowd instead of getting sacked, that'll be a good thing. I just feel like he needs to practice more on throwing it away or running. So he won't get sacked. The sacks are totally on his fault. So except for what Coach Smoot even said on the show, you can't stop all 7 guys if you got 5 guys up front.
Yep.
So I mean but Jalen Miro, I give him 8 out of 10.
Okay, and let me ask you this. And this is my last question to you, Jay. We're on with Jay from Pensacola. Future game that concerns you is you got Arkansas, you got Tennessee, you got an open week, you got LSU, you got Chattanooga, and you got Auburn. Those are Alabama's games that are remaining. Are there any games within that stretch that concern you?
The only 2 games I'm concerned with. I feel like the Tennessee game gonna be a shootout. The Arkansas game gonna be a shootout. I was part of Ole Miss. I watched that game. I feel like at the start off, I feel like Ole Miss was gonna take off on Arkansas, but Arkansas was still in there.
Yep.
But I feel like the LSU game, I feel it's gonna be. I'm certain the LSU and the Auburn game, because I don't care who beat Auburn. Auburn can go 1-10, but they're gonna pay Alabama to their heart.
Hell yeah.
But LSU game, I watched that Missouri game, Missouri LSU.
Yep.
I was so disappointed in Missouri. Missouri had that game won, but Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, he's maybe the best quarterback in the ACC. The LSU game, we can stop yelling Jaden Daniels.
Yep. The guy has certainly, his accuracy has really impressed me.
Yes.
He hasn't
threw any interception this year.
Dude, his accuracy is unbelievable. Honestly, I mean, kid can certainly spin it. Hey Jay, I got to move to my next caller, man, but I appreciate you calling in, and we'll catch up soon.
Have a good one. Roll Tide.
All right, man. Roll Tide to you. Okay, all right. We go back to the phone lines. Calling line is open 205-850-1994. We go to our next caller, and we start right now. Hey, I hope you're having a great day. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, or where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's going on there, Kyle? It's Demetrius from North Carolina.
Hey, what's up, Demetrius? I appreciate you calling in, man. Alabama now 5-1 on the season after taking down Texas A&M. Take it away, man. Welcome to the show.
I'm taking it away. Yeah, the defense, each game, they keep progressing more and more and more. I mean, is it elite like the elite defense we have? Not yet, but by their stride of the LSU game, they're gonna be there. And I shout out to Kevin. I'm gonna keep saying that. Shout out to Kevin Steele and the defensive staff. Hey, they got them young men on the road, as an Alabama fan, that makes my heart feel good that they returning back to that elite status and putting fear in people. They're gonna have to game plan something else. But the only thing I have to say is this undiscipline on the offensive side of the ball. I scratched the right side of my temple. I believe I got a little bald spot going right there. I mean, come on, this the 3rd year in a row now the undiscipline primarily on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we see what the problem was on the defensive side of the ball was. Hey, Pete, the offense covers you for years. So, Lane Kiffin, we more than happy for you to take him. But, as far as the offense, let me jump back to the special teams. Shout out to the special teams. Last caller hit on it. Yeah, maybe Kool-Aid can do a little bit better or they make a change. But special teams, they own the money. Will Riker, I put him in the same status as Proctor from back in the days. And hey, the young man is they need to give him a medal, key to the city or something when he leave and go to the pros. I mean, he done an exemplary job. You know, these years. You know, what's his nickname? Will Too Real. Hey, he deserves it. But yeah, on the offensive side, I mean, that's where my constructive criticism coming from, because I'm not going them young men. I'm not going to be down on them like some people do. But if we can get Jalen to, I mean, I done watched the game over twice. He missed quite a few open routes. He's getting slowly but surely getting better. But it's gonna come a time that, hey, that game should have been over by halftime. I mean, the 12 men, they're supposed to be now the 6 men by halftime. We should have won that game 52-10. Easy. Only way they scored, it was gonna be a last minute score at the end of the game on the second team. Kyle Field should have been empty. But you know, it is what it is. But I'm sorry, we do have a number one defense in the country. I believe if we play up to our full potential and cut out the undisciplined, we have the best team in the country. So,
what was your thoughts on the play of Jalen Mill on the play of Jermaine Burton?
Jermaine Burton, I mean, he stepped up like we've been wanting him to do ever since he came transferred from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he, like the call y'all was talking about previous, he is down to naysayers. You know, I really wish Jalen would get him the ball. Or, hey, if a man got it going, hey, I mean, I played tight end in high school. Just throw the ball to me. I'm gonna get it. I don't care if John Brown, if it was Deion Sanders guard me. Just throw it to me. I'm gonna get it. I mean, you can get in the zone. I mean, look. Devontae Smith, I mean, he proved it all. I mean, he proved it. Well, not Devontae Smith. What was the receiver of 2020? But he proved it. Hey, when you get in the zone, just throw it to him. Steve Sarkisian, just throw it to him. And that's what kind of game he had yesterday. I mean, that's how he was feeling it.
Yeah, he was certainly on fire. All right, Demetrius, let me ask you my last question before I get to my next caller, man. Future game that concerns you, the remaining games in order are Arkansas, Tennessee. You got an open week, which comes at a great time right before LSU. And then you have Kentucky on the road. You have Chattanooga back at Bryant-Denny. And then you go to Auburn to take on Hugh Freeze and the Tigers. Any of those games that concern you?
I'm going to be open-minded here. I believe all of them, and I've come from the point of view of how are we going to progress on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if we take it small, my humble opinion, taking too small of a step each game. And I mean, with this game performance, we would have beat Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
You know what? I was talking about that this morning. Look, the way that Alabama played on the road, if Alabama plays like that and you limit penalties, and again, this is a game of like ifs, ands, or whatever, but you saw Texas lose yesterday. And I wanted to bring up something that I kind of spotted out this morning when looking at the football rankings. And I know the AP rankings are going to drop here shortly, but this team is trending upwards. And if you're going to lose in the world of college football, you have to lose at the beginning of the season, which Alabama did. This Alabama team is much better than the team that played Texas. Texas is still a very good team, and they beat Alabama head to head. But if these two teams played this coming week, I feel much better about Alabama playing Texas, probably beating Texas if the game's at Bryant-Denny Stadium. You just see everything evolve. I mean, literally on Wednesday during Nick Saban's press conference, he said the passing game is evolving, and then Jalen Milroe comes out and throws for 323, his career high. Demetrius, I got to run to my next caller, man, but I appreciate the support. Please call again next time.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. Demetrius out in North Carolina calling. We got a 703 and a 423. Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys calling in. What did you guys think about Alabama's play against Texas A&M regarding the offensive and defensive side? I want to hear you inside the comment box. Who was your game MVP? Thoughts on Jalen Milroe, the play of Jermaine Burton, and any future games that somewhat concern you. And I guess that's kind of the rat poison, looking ahead. And I was looking at the AP rankings this morning. I don't have them in front of me, but one of the things that were standing out, maybe I could share a screen. I'll get to my next callers in just a second, but let's just take a pause and look at the rankings. Things are really setting up well for Alabama. They have to continue to win, of course. But look, if Georgia continues to run the table, and they looked great against Kentucky, they took Kentucky to the woodshed. They're going to do their thing and probably remain unbeaten. It's a favorable schedule for them. Michigan really haven't played anybody, but Michigan still has to play Penn State and Ohio State. Those are going to be some challenging games for the Wolverines, but the defense is playing elite. Number 3, that was Texas. They lost their first game to now undefeated Oklahoma. Oklahoma led by a very good quarterback. I've always thought Dylan Gabriel was a very good quarterback. That was a great game yesterday, but Texas falls. The number 4 team, Florida State, seems like they're always a touchdown away from losing. They take on Syracuse this coming week after beating up on Virginia Tech, or it was Virginia, right? And then you have Penn State. They're up there. They have to play Ohio State and Michigan. You have Oregon and Washington. Those two teams will play each other this coming week. So one of those two teams is going to lose as well. You also have USC, who is on the ropes against Arizona before coming back. And then you have Notre Dame, who takes on USC. That should be another prize game this coming weekend. And then there's Alabama, who takes on Arkansas. So as you can see, that college football ladder, Alabama should be able to continue to climb in the polls if they take care of business on the field. Of course, that is rat poison talk, but those are facts. Those are the teams ahead of Alabama. And, I was not surprised in the slightest with seeing Louisville beat Notre Dame last night. I mean, Notre Dame, always a pretender, and I still feel the same exact way about Florida State. We go back to the phone lines at 703. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Crimson Blood 22 from Fredericksburg, Virginia. How are you?
I appreciate you calling in, man. Hope you're having a great Sunday, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I was listening to some of the other callers before, and I share some of their same sentiments. I think it was Jay from Pensacola said that he predicted 28-20. Well, last week when I called, I predicted 24-20, so I guess we're going to split the difference on that. And in reference to the other caller talking about giving Will Reichert the keys to the city, I am all for giving that young man a statue in front of the stadium. So maybe he and J.K. Scott back from old. So I think they definitely deserve some statues outside of Bryant Denny.
Yeah, I mean, look.
And I also said, too, last week about the general anxiety disorder. My anxiety was extremely high.
So it's interesting because I can see the analytics like going into each game based off like the videos that we produce. And people were nervous going into Ole Miss like I've never seen before. It was like almost like a huge sigh of relief that Alabama took care of business. And then against Texas A&M, I mean, everybody saw that the game, everyone thought, I guess, that the game was going to be tight, and rightfully so. Why wouldn't it be? The last 3 games now have been down to the wire between these two teams, have been thrilling games, and it's very difficult to win at College Station. I'll tell you something. I am shocked that Texas A&M is not a top 25 team. In my opinion, I feel that they're a better team than Ole Miss. And especially going down there at College Station, this is a gigantic win for Alabama. Huge win. And with 99 yards of penalties, like Coach Saban was like, I'm happy for this group. And he said that this may be a record in terms of the most miscues and still managing to come out with a dub. It was just such a gigantic win for Alabama. And, really excited for these guys to continue that momentum. And though there were 14 penalties, I still see most of the areas trending upwards. Wouldn't you agree with that assessment? I mean, I felt, besides like the snaps or whatever, but I still feel that most of the areas are trending upwards.
I definitely agree that we're trending upward, which sometimes scares me because I think, players like us tend to look at the news and look at the tweets and, their Instas and all of that stuff. And then that sort of creates and breeds that level of rat poison. And I really do think this is a game by game situation where we really cannot get ahead of ourselves, and we really have to. Any one of these teams that are coming up, as some callers mentioned, the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Any one of these teams could take us out, and so we really need to work on the offensive issues, especially on the offensive line with the pre-snap penalties. Although Jalen Milroy, I would say, is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I think your coaches on the show yesterday were talking about the blitz package that they were running. It was like the same sort of blitz package like 19 times, and Jalen had issues picking it up. Like, those things have to get cleaned up.
Mm-hmm. What did you think?
But if I
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I would like to ask a couple of people who are calling in today, kind of their take. Like who is your game MVP? Would you say after watching yesterday's game?
Okay. I would say my game MVP was Will Reichard because he had to step in an uncomfortable situation and play a different position in a hostile environment.
Yeah, I like that.
Thoughts on Milrow? Thoughts on Milrow kind of already gave you, like, he's got to learn how to pick up this blitz. But I was happy to finally see a slant pattern, and that was the one where Burton scored. I was waiting several games for him to finally throw a good slant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that play for Burton, as I mentioned, that slant was pretty, and I would like to see more slants, actually. And the future game that concerns me, probably LSU and Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, too. When I look to games on the schedule, I just – look, Arkansas – I have a lot of respect for Sam Pittman. Those games against Arkansas as of late haven't been just a straight Alabama runaway. Now, with that said, Jalen Milrow had a nice showing against Arkansas last year, coming in for a banged up Bryce Young. Hard to believe that's almost a year ago. And then you have, some other games on the schedule that are going to be challenging. This is the gauntlet. I mean, Tennessee, despite where they're at, it's the third weekend of October. It's a rivalry game. They're going to want to come in. And now before everyone felt Alabama's vulnerable. This is the team that we can attack. Now it's back to Alabama's our Super Bowl. Now our season is shot, but if we can go and play well against Alabama, they're fighting for moral victories now, right? At the beginning of the season, it was like, hey, this is our year. And now that these teams are starting to, take the L's, they're seeing that playing Alabama is their chance to save their season. So they're going to get their best from everybody every single game. But, yeah, I think that LSU and, of course, the Auburn game doesn't matter. When I first got here, I was like, yeah, Alabama's going to go down and just do whatever they want with Auburn. It's never like that. That Auburn team will play the game of their life. And it's crazy because I was against it. I didn't believe that was true. I didn't. I was like, no, Alabama's going to beat Auburn 100%. No, I have no idea what's going to happen in that game. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. There's some sort of weird thing with it. And it really does exist.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I've seen, tight ends that never caught a pass make the most incredible catch. You've seen things. It's a weird game. Especially with Hugh Freeze. He's beat Alabama before. It's just weird. Cool. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Anything else before I move on to my next caller?
No, thanks a lot, Kyle. Great show, and enjoy all your content.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Call again. Thanks. All right, we got a 423 inside the call queue, and we have a 205, a 850, and a 1994. If you guys want to call in, appreciate you guys joining the show today. Thank you very much, Kyle Anderson, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Has the AP poll been dropped? Yeah, if the AP poll has been dropped, let me know, and I'll put the AP poll up on the screen. I guess I could, give my assessment. No, I'll wait for my MVP, thoughts on Milrow, and the play of Burton in future games that potentially concern me when you go forward. And I think for the most part, I mean, this is the gauntlet of the season. We talked about this several weeks ago. Here we are. I love the fact that there is an open week before LSU. Not because LSU is this overwhelming opponent. I just like the way it comes into the schedule when guys are starting to get banged up. Even Coach Saban said that during his press conference. He said this is the time where other guys in that depth chart continue to rise up. And with Malachi Moore out, what Alabama was able to do was they slid Terran Arnold from the corner position to the star position, and then they put Trey Amos at that corner position. And, we'll have to see how that defense continues to adjust, but they're just playing at such a high level. Terran Arnold, what a player he's been this season, man. I mean, look, him and Kool-Aid are playing great, but he might be playing better than Kool-Aid right now. Is that safe to say? Okay, so has the AP poll been dropped? I don't know if I got that inside the comment box. We go back to the phone lines, and it's a 423, and we start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. This is John in Tennessee. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's up, John? Good morning. I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, first off, Roll Tide, first-time caller. And just wanted to make a couple comments on the game yesterday. Thought Milroe looked pretty good as far as his completions. He did have some overthrows. That's just part of it. I think people tend to focus on that more than his completion rating yesterday. But if you look at his completion rating overall, it's really not been, that bad. But when you've been used to a Bryce Young and a Mac Jones, it's a totally different animal when you look at it like that. Mm-hmm. I just think one of the things he could improve on is just getting rid of the ball. He takes too many sacks. He doesn't throw the ball away very much, I've noticed. Mm-hmm. More like trying to extend the play and then taking, a 13-yard loss, 15-yard loss, 10-yard loss, other than just throwing the ball away, resetting, and going to the next down. Mm-hmm. Do you think have you seen that as well?
Yeah, the thing about Jalen Milroe is I think that's a fair point. I mean, there's a lot of times where he just eats it rather than throwing the ball away. But he's really done a great job not forcing the football, right? I thought the interception, that was a great play. The safety read his eyes the entire way. I was watching the TV broadcast with you guys, and they were right. Like the safety read his eyes completely, and I didn't feel that he put enough velocity on that ball. With that said, some of his deep balls and these intermediate areas of passing certainly improved for him, and we continue to see him trending upward. I think yesterday, the game that he had with 321 yards, I think that adds so much momentum to Jalen Milroe and so much confidence for the entire offense. If the offense can ever catch up with the defense, this team wins the national title. Seriously. Because the defense is playing at that high level. 100%, right? I mean, who would disagree with that? If the offense, because there's still, the offense is climbing, but if the offense starts rolling and you start utilizing Isaiah Bond and Burton on a consistent basis, those guys are wideouts. We haven't said that in a long time. Remember those? The wideouts were like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, guys that were just like filthy. Yesterday's play, those guys were wideouts. They needed to bust out that crane, the karate crane again, because that was wideout play yesterday, and we hadn't seen that yet. And I get it. A lot of it is because the passing game was evolving, but you get more of those guys in the mixture. Now, with that said, and I do have the stats from yesterday's game. This is the first time that I've ever seen this. I'll put this on the screen right now. This was wild. I'm talking about the rushing yards against A&M. I've never seen. I'm gonna put the screen full right here. Alabama had a net total yesterday of 23 yards. 23 yards rushing the football. And a lot of that is...
It was negative in the first half, was it not?
Yeah, it was negative in the first half. So, and I get it. A lot of that is because Texas A&M wanted to make Jalen Milroe beat them, right, over the top. And he did, right? I mean, you look at the stats right there, 9 receptions, 197 yards. That is crazy. Bond with 96, Amari Knobloch with 1. But yeah, it's been a while since, someone's held Alabama to... those type of numbers. With that said, big step forward for the offense. What else you got, John?
Just again with him, a lot of people are focusing on the negative. I think what gets me is to see him drop those dimes in double coverage or single coverage where he's only got a small window, and then you've got a receiver that's nobody's within 10, 15 yards, and he overthrows them, 10 feet in the air. Yeah. And that's what's aggravating to me. Your last caller said something about the slant. I don't think I've seen a slant pass in the past 5 games.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have, I don't remember, but I mean, you go back to people like Jeudy and Ruggs and Devontae and they were killing people on the slants
100%.
because you get that 7-yard slant and then they did the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the receivers that'll do the rest if we can just get it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense is playing lights out. Of course, there's always area of improvement. If I'm Saban, I'm putting that offensive line in their stance for the whole practice on Monday and not letting them move, because the offensive penalties are killing us. I mean, just absolutely. We've had 6 touchdowns called back in 6 games.
Yeah, and 2 of those have been special teams related. So you had Terrion Arnold, and then you had Chris Brazo. By the way, I just added the Pro Football Focus offensive grades to the screen. The grade on the far right is their overall grade from the game against Texas A&M, if that's what you're looking at. But you're right, John. 6 touchdowns have been taken away from this team so far this season. But things continue to go on an upward trajectory. Like, this team, we can all say this with confidence, that they're getting better. And that is the most important thing. All facets. There was a couple, like the punt return from Anaya Smith. Like, people were like, wrap the dude up. Good luck. That's probably the best punt returner in the country. Yeah. Like, I'm just glad that they were able to tackle him at some point, because like that boy's good. And credit to him for at least coming back with coming to the podium last night and facing the music, because he came to the podium. He could have, denied the media opportunity for sure, after calling out Alabama. That takes a lot. And, he came back, and I saw him and Saban, they had like a brief laugh after the game. Who knows what was said? But anyways, that guy is a bad man, and I'm glad that they didn't get the football to him more, because he's super dangerous. Anything else, John, before I move to the next caller?
Man, I just real quick shout out to Larry from Georgia Tech, transferred from Alabama, beat Miami yesterday.
Oh yeah,
made my afternoon even better. But yeah, man, great job on the show. Keep it up, and we appreciate what you do. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. Appreciate it. All right, that was John calling in from Tennessee. Let me talk about the offensive Pro Football Focus grades. Did you guys see the way that the Miami and Georgia Tech game ended? My goodness. So if you didn't, Miami won the game. They're running out the game. And they decide, instead of to kneel the ball, to kill the clock, they run it with the running back. He's stripped by Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech makes 2 good plays, and then they throw a touchdown to Christian Leary, who used to be where? Raise your hand if you know inside the comment box. Bama catches a touchdown, and Georgia Tech beats Miami. How are you going to do that? My goodness. Okay. These are the Pro Football Focus grades real quick. All right. So if you're new to the show, Pro Football Focus is a company that grades out the players, their former college coaches and pro coaches, and they grade out the players. And then we talk about them here on Bama Football on YouTube. So far left, let's start with Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker, he played at left guard. Total represents the snap count. He played in 59. His overall grade was 55.3. 55 on the Pro Football Focus grading chart. That's like a D, kind of a C. It's not like an F. Like an F would be like Caden Proctor or CJ Dupree. 41.5, 42.1. Those are completely low scores. JC Latham, 69.8. That's a very good grade, or above average for the offensive line. These grades are a lot lower than I anticipated to see. Isaiah Bond does have a grade of 77.2. Jermaine Burton with the highest grade of 90.6. I'm looking for Jalen Milroe, 64.2. That was his grade on Pro Football Focus. So a lot of the times, and thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, Crimson Blood 22, and appreciate the dialogue as well. A lot of the times the stats don't necessarily correlate with the grade. So, for example, just like our last caller, John from Tennessee, pointed out, Jalen Milroe did make some really good downfield throws, but where was the placement of the throw? Where was the throw when, there was an open wide receiver, when he missed a couple wide receivers, or where he put the ball too high? There was a couple times where he did that, or when Jalen Milroe decided to throw the football in the fourth quarter, kind of that bump pass or whatever that was, instead of just, handing off the football. Could have been a dangerous situation. So those also impact the overall grades. Caller, hang on. I'll be with you in just a second. Let me go through the Pro Football Focus grades on the defensive side. I haven't had a chance to look at these, so I'm just I'm looking at these new with you. Appreciate the super chat again. So Caleb Downs up at the top of your screen, 64 snaps. His grade, see where it says DEF? That means their total grade. So 76.8. On the defense, they give you a variety of grades to work with. The run defensive grade is 73.3 for Caleb Downs. His tackle grade was a 62.9. Pass rush grade is 57.6, and his coverage grade was a 76.6. Let's just stay with that defensive grade for right now. That is, if we're working from right to left, that is the 1, 2, 3, 4th column, and it has Caleb Downs for 76.8. So the high grades, these grades are a lot higher than the offense, clearly. So collectively, Deontay Lawson has a grade of 67.5, Kool-Aid 62.5, Terran Arnold 72.8, Jalen Key 64.9, Dallas Turner 73.4. Who had the highest grade? Looks like that's going to be, is it Tim Keenan? Yeah, and Tim Keenan had 8 tackles. He led the entire team. So he did a great job, and he continues to do a great job. Lowest grade was actually Malachi Moore, and he goes out with the injury. And then Jaha Campbell, who started in place of Deontay Lawson, who had 14 tackles against Mississippi State. He played in just 15 snaps. So those are your Pro Football Focus grades when you're looking at yesterday's game. We go back to the phone lines with the 773. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, this is Mike from Chicago again. How's it going, Kyle?
Mike, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, I think had a great game yesterday. I think Tommy Rees opened up the playbook and has to open it up a little bit more. I mean, the run game was what it should have been because they said, hey, beat me Milroe. And that's what he did. And more teams are going to do that until they get to a point to where, okay, Milroe can beat us. But when you have 7, 8 in the box, to expect any kind of a running game, I don't think anybody could do that. I think you have to back them off. When we ran the ball when we had Mac Jones, when we ran the ball when we had Tua, because most teams said, hey, we don't want Mac to be as let us run the ball. So there's going to always be a situation where defense chooses their poison. And currently right now they're choosing Milroe. Yesterday, Milroe stepped up and said, okay, I am the poison today. And until they believe that Milroe is consistently going to be the poison, most teams are going to stack the box and say, I'm choosing my poison, and my poison is Milroe. And Tommy Rees is going to have to open up the playbook to those quick passes, slants. I think every fan known to man of Alabama right now is like, why can't we run slants? Why is they not calling slants and, quick routes and bubble screens and things like that? I think that would help Milroe even more if we can go to the quick passing game. Then you're going to get more teams backing up. Once they back up, then the run game is going to open up. But the run game, I think we put a lot of more pressure on the offensive line, and they're not doing a bad job. I think the thing is that teams have chosen to say, you're not going to beat us running. You're going to beat us passing, and we just made one step this weekend to saying, hey, well, we can beat you passing. It's Tommy Rees and maybe even Nick Saban has to believe the fact that, yes, we can do it. And hopefully I don't think it's more of Milroe getting the confidence. I think it's more of Tommy Rees and Nick Saban getting the confidence of believing in Milroe, because I think Milroe believes he can do it. I think the other two is the one that got to believe it, and they got to make calls. And I persecuted Tommy Rees last week. He opened up the playbook a little bit more. He needs to open up even a little bit more.
On the line with Mike from Chicago. So, I did like the fact that they just came out, because one of the things that we are curious about kind of going into this game was, could Alabama play from behind? Could Alabama, go over the top? Were they going to allow Jalen Milroe to just let the ball fly? And I was happy that they did. And like you said, they wanted to challenge Jalen Milroe's deep ball ability and his overall passing ability. And I think yesterday, with the way that he played, and if you didn't watch the game and you just look at the stat line, whether you just look at the stat line or you watch the game, you're like, oh, like he can throw the ball too. And now I think people are going to start to be like, okay, this team can win throwing the football, which they did yesterday.
I think Arkansas is going to still do the same thing. I think Arkansas is still going to stack the box and say, hey, you're going to have to prove. I think you've got to do maybe 2 or 3. I think even all the way through the whole season, even if they make it to the CFP, if I'm a defense coordinator, I'm gonna have to believe Miro. You gotta show it to me every game, and that's where I think Tommy Reese is gonna have to open up the playbook, and I don't even have to just get it downfield. Those quick routes that he was hitting with Burden and Bond, he can make the throws. I mean, you're right. He has the process, but he can make the throws. And I think we get upset about some of the bad throws. I mean, people don't understand. Bryce threw bad balls, too. If anybody looked at the last year's LSU game, Bryce did not have a good game. If you look at the Auburn game where he had to drive, for the first 3 quarters, he was not good. I mean, all our quarterbacks have not been good and they're not perfect, but they can be consistent in the game, and I think Miro can be consistent in the game. It's just a matter of you can't down your sword. You can't sit back and not have this confidence and let the other team say, okay, we don't think Miro can beat us, and our own coaches say, well, you know what, maybe not. Maybe Miro can't beat us, so we're going to try to force the run. You're going to have to lean on him, and you've made that choice. He's proven it each week. And the best thing about this team is, as you say, it's on an upward trajectory, and it is going fast. So there's been no game where we look the same from last week. It's not been a point where it seems like we plateaued. Each 100%. Game has been, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And if you keep doing that, they can peak right at the point in time where it's the CFP. I think they can do it. I think the biggest test will be Auburn. As you said, that for whatever reason, Auburn somehow or another figures out, hey, they become Superman. They take the spinach, become Popeye. They do something. But as you say, there's tight ends that make catches that you like, where were you ever in? So, yes, that's going to be the biggest test.
On with Mike from Chicago. Mike, I got 4 questions. Let's run through them real quick. I know you already hit on the play of Jalen Milroe, so we won't touch on all of them. But who was your overall game MVP? Was it Jermaine Burton because of his play, or was it somebody else?
I'm going to have to get co-MVP, Jermaine Burton and Riker. I mean, Riker came in and he was booted. I mean, I didn't expect him to boot it like he was. I got to give it to Burton and Riker. And not to be expected and to just come in and Riker and Burton, co-MVP.
And the thing about it is, like, Will Riker, he comes in and, like, the dude is, like, it's really, like, almost like peak male athleticism, right? He just comes in. He has just, like, this stone cold face. Never really the most time I've seen him have
shank.
Nothing. And even that one punt that he had, like you said, he booted it like 40 yards past. Like he went out there and just booted it. And they were just like
right. I mean, and it was like not even a shank or like, okay. He booted like, I think the 2 punts he had, he booted it. I'm like, oh my God.
Dude, he's great, man. He's just done such a great job this season, and such a added weapon for Alabama, because Burton have been playing at such a high level, and I guess we'll get a health update on him. But it's good to know that, because think about this. I mean, if it's reversed, I mean, you have a freshman coming in to kick for Will Riker. Will Riker, such a dynamic piece to this team, and I'm glad that he's your MVP. You already said that Auburn is a team that concerns you. So anything else, Mike, before I move to my next caller?
Yeah, one thing. Tomorrow when you're in the press conference, ask Coach, did he ever think about putting Miro under center when having issues with the snap and the crowd noise and things like that? Have they ever thought about going under center as opposed to staying in shotgun and having issues with the false starts?
Yeah, because and specifically in a game that is that loud, right? I mean, but some of the things was like you saw Seth would like get the ball and he would kind of like move it and then snap it. Like you can't like. That's a penalty. And in fact, we just went through, I just have all the penalties listed. I'm about to show kind of a breakdown of the penalties. But yeah, Mike, I appreciate your take, man. Please call again next time.
All right. Thanks for taking the call.
Yep.
All
absolutely.
right. Have a good one.
All right. Mike in Chicago. We got a 334-919 and a 470. We'll get to you guys next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. It's amazing to see that this team was able to win. And with 14 penalties, and I don't even, like Coach Saban said, like it is some resiliency, but it is just like, wow, that's a gutty win. I had the score, if you guys remember, 31-13, pretty close. You take away, Alabama had a touchdown taken away, and I thought that this defense continues to play at such a high level that it adds so much confidence to the offense. And like Mike was saying, I think that you're going to see a similar approach from Arkansas's defense against Jalen Miro this next game for homecoming. So someone is saying, Ron TDB is saying that Alabama is 11 in the poll. I don't know if we don't have an updated AP poll just yet. So we will put that updated. We're talking about like the AP poll and the polls, and none of the polls matter right now until we even get to the college football playoff poll, right? Because it's always so funny. We're like talking about the AP and then the coaches poll. Then those polls basically go away, and then we just talk about the CFP poll, which will be coming out. I don't know here exactly. Yeah, it is just marketing, right? Because it doesn't matter at all. Like the one poll that matters is the college football playoff poll. We go to our next caller, and it's at 334. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in for?
My name is Ladarius Frazier, calling in from Montgomery, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Was your first time caller?
Welcome, man. I've been down to Montgomery several times, man, and I appreciate you calling in, and it's great to kind of see like the different regions of Alabama that have Alabama football fans, as well as like the country. Like we were just on with Mike from Chicago. We have our callers up in Brooklyn. We go to Florence. We go down to Fairhope, and now we're coming to you from Montgomery, man. So welcome, and what's on your mind, man?
Alabama.
Yeah. So take it away, man.
Alabama is like the Lakers of the NBA. Everybody know them.
100%. And everybody, they want to be fans, but they love to see them lose too, right? Like the opposing, they want to see them lose. So, anyways, did you say Liddell?
You said what?
Did you say your name was Liddell?
Oh no, Ladarius.
Ladarius. All right, cool. All right, Ladarius. Welcome to the show, man. So, what's on your mind, man? Take it away.
Our defense. We got a good defense. We got a bend but don't break defense. We elite in certain spots. Like certain spots we're elite at. That secondary, Caleb Downs, he gonna go down as one of Alabama great safeties.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that he's gonna go down as one of Alabama great safeties. Offense, spotty. I think they need to go back to that offense we ran when we had Jalen Hurts. A lot of quick passes, a lot of, we did slants too, but we got to go back to something that more efficient where Miro ain't just sitting back there in the pocket too long, where he can quickly dissect the defense, and he can just make quick passes. We need to go to an offense like that instead of having him sit back there so long and try to find his deep ball, when we can be, we can move the ball slowly but surely down the field. We need to start going back to an offense like that, because him taking them sacks like that, man, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy when he takes sacks like that.
What do you
and
think?
We really supposed to be honest. Go ahead.
What did you think? But what have you seen from Jalen Miro from week 1 to week now? I mean, because it's clearly been,
progression.
Yes, 100%.
He progressing. He actually progressing very, very good though. A lot of mistakes that he made against Texas, he ain't making no mistakes no more. A lot of them, he ain't making no mistakes no more. The only if Jalen Miro could just fix this one thing, it's just this one thing from his game, and I think it'll help him. We know he gonna miss passes in the middle, short passes. We know he gonna be a little off on it. But those sacks that he takes when he runs out the pocket and run to the sideline and just give defenders straight shots at him, we can't take those. And then most of the time when he take off like that, it be a tight end or whoever that's in that slot. They be right directly in front of him, just sitting right there, just waiting on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just takes the ball and run towards the sideline and get a sack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just we go look. If he do this, if we make it to the SEC championship and play Georgia, plays like that, gonna get us beat. Penalties gonna get us beat.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell Alabama do got a good team because to get 14 penalties for 99 yards, that you got to be a good team to overcome things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a good team to overcome things like that.
What did you see? What like yesterday? And we're on with Ladarius calling in from Montgomery. Have you been impressed with the play of Tim Keenan?
Yes. Everybody been stepping up both sides of the ball, both D line and offensive line. They stepping up. Proctor, he gonna be great. We just gotta take our time with him, cause the system. I mean, where he came from playing football up there, he ain't had to go up against nobody like this. And he just first not getting his first experience towards that, but he gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be more quicker. They probably need to drop his weight down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they might need to drop his weight down just a little bit, because he is not. If you get one of those fast, twitchy DNs, he gonna have problems all night, because he ain't got that quick lateral movement yet. Too much. I think his weight though, for real. But if he can drop that down, just a couple pounds, about 20 pounds, I think that'll help him a lot.
Hey, Ladarius, let me ask you one final question. Let me ask you a final question before we move forward, man. Is there a future game on this schedule that concerns you? Arkansas is coming up. Then you have Tennessee. Then you have an open week. You have
Tennessee
Ellis.
Quarterback still hurt?
Tennessee's quarterback still hurt. I'll have to check on that. I'm not sure. So
if Tennessee quarterback is not hurt, then Tennessee will be our tough matchup. LSU, a good team, but they going up against with Alabama the best in right now, and their defense can't take advantage of what Alabama lacking at right now. So LSU, be honest with you, I honestly think if Alabama don't come into that game with penalties and stuff like that, I honestly think we'll run away with against LSU. Even though they got this top flying offense, I think we'll run away with LSU. But if Tennessee got their quarterback healthy, Tennessee play both sides of the ball. I think Tennessee will be our toughest matchup. Auburn good, but they ain't elite. Their quarterback ain't elite enough.
Gotcha.
He ain't elite enough.
Hey, Ladarius, well, I appreciate you calling in from Montgomery, man. Take care, and please call again next time, man. Save the number.
All right, appreciate you.
Yep, take it easy, man. All right, we got a 919, a 470, and a 919. Again, someone said, okay, so we're going to, as soon as those AP poll is released, we'll get that posted right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Just kind of fun to look at the rankings now that Alabama's kind of had to work their way up that ladder. Michigan is number 2 behind Georgia. And if you look at the schedule for Michigan, they really haven't played anybody just yet, but the games that they have played, they've really dominated those games. What did you guys think of Texas losing? Did you guys watch that Texas-Oklahoma game? A really good game. Thought that Oklahoma played some opportunistic football, and the quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, did a fantastic job. I mean, that guy, I've always thought that guy was really good. Oklahoma beating Texas, I think you're going to see those two teams again for the Big 12 championship, but that was a really big win for Oklahoma. I thought that Texas would lose a game. We all knew that it could have been Oklahoma, but if they were to beat Oklahoma still on that back end, some of their schedule could get a little bit squirrely. But okay, we go back to the phone lines, and it is a 919, and we start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yo, Kyle, what's going on? This is G from Raleigh. First time calling, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Did you say G?
Yeah.
All right, what's up, G? G from Raleigh calling in, man. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
Hey, I want to address a couple things. I hear a lot of people saying Tommy Rees needs to open up the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're really watching what's going on, I think Tommy Rees is he's not Lane Kiffin. I think he's in that Brian Dable tier of good. And you can see that he was a quarterback. The only reason we're not seeing how good Tommy is because Milroe's not ready for a time. See, Tommy can pre-read 10 times better than Milroe right now. So if Milroe could get his pre-snap reads to a good level, you just up it a little bit, then you can see Tommy play Madden with Milroe. Anytime you have a previous quarterback as your OC, he's going to play like how he would. He's just going to use your abilities. You get what I'm saying? So yesterday showed me Reese is real. With that fake toss with the tight end slipping up the seam, that's just because Milroe's not really ready. It's not that Reese not good enough. Milroe is not ready pre-snap for these things. If you watch Milroe, he's not confident in zipping the ball 15 and under also. So I see a lot of people saying, why aren't we doing so-and-so? Why aren't we running RPOs? Why aren't we running slants? Well, you can answer your own question. Who was the quarterbacks that we had when we ran that? Tua, Matt Jones, Bryce. There's no way you need to be thinking what we ran for Tua is what we need to run for Milroe. No way impossible. You know, and it's simple. Milroe doesn't have the pre-snap ability yet, and he doesn't have a quick enough trigger. Look how fast Tua threw the ball. Look how fast Matt Jones zipped the ball. To run an RPO slant system, you have to have a quick, certain, guaranteed quarterback. Milroe will be that next year. You could bet your dollar on that. But right now, that's not something you develop in the middle of the season, a quick trigger. Hell no. And pre-read ability is almost something that you don't get in the season either. Those are two things that take time. But you can see the progression and the trust in Reese now with Milroe. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have anything negative to say about Milroe. Because I look at it like this. I've never played in front of 110,000 people, and I've never been sacked 6 times in a game. So I can't say shit about nobody who done went out there and threw for 300. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have enough common sense, Kyle, to say that boy went out there and got sacked 6 times in the SEC in front of 110,000 and threw for 300. And he can't throw the short ball. You got to realize, how raw we is. Like, so if you don't complain, you can realize how disgustingly nasty Bama really is. We can't do but so much on offense, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying because of Milroe. Milroe's just not ready. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just not ready to do what this offense really could do with a quarterback OC. Reese is exactly who we need. It's just Milroe has to progress, and every week we're seeing it. I want to say this because I be on what's his name, Stephen A. Smith. I be on whatever, I forgot. I be on his show a lot, and I've been vouching for my boy Jaden Roberts. If you ask Steve, watch It Is Steve show, I've been talking about Jaden Roberts for 2 seasons. I want to give a big shout out. I'm gonna be funny with this. Of course, Burton had the play of the day. The game of his life. Of course, Milroe had the game of his career. But I'm a football fan, so I say that I'm gonna say what made it work. Roberts didn't allow not one sack up the middle yesterday against that hellacious D-line. For a guy who had his first start to not give up a sack, I don't know why he ain't been out there. I mean, I kind of know why. We know Saban has a little seniority thing going on. But all in all, Jaden Roberts, Self, and Tyler Booker allowed Milroe to not be rushed up the middle. You get what I'm saying? All those sacks really came from like them overloading the tackles, sending 3-on-1 tackle. You know how they were sending 6 and 7. So his pressure came from the edge. So, like I said, you can't throw for 300 if you're getting pressure up the middle. I don't give a damn how many times he got sacked. It wasn't up the middle. So Roberts should be out there for the rest of the year. Booker and Seth. I like what Seth did. Seth fixed his game in 1 week. I don't think Seth didn't have a bad crazy snap this game, did he, Cal?
The only thing, he didn't necessarily have a bad snap like trajectory wise. It was just kind of like these little like false movements with the football, and I mean that was kind of the issue, which he hasn't done before. So it's kind of like we went from something to something else. But in terms of going up against Texas A&M's line, I thought he did a better job pass blocking wise. And you're right, Texas A&M's defensive line or their defense overall has 20 sacks in 3 games, in the last 3 games. 20 sacks. Like they got to, and like to your point too, G, like Jalen Milroe, he got tagged yesterday. The blind side. Everybody could see the block that was coming or the blitz that was coming off the left side except him. And that guy got to him. And Alabama is lucky that they got that football back because he got tagged. And he's growing. He's growing. And the more that they can add to his plate, Alabama is going to have a better chance to catch up. The offense is going to have a better chance to catch up with the defense. We're starting to see more and more added onto Jalen Milroe's plate. Even just like that slant to Burton, that was money. The deep ball, a couple of the passes where he rolled out, he just didn't have the accuracy for. That might have been a little bit of something that was rushed on Milroe's end, but they're adding more to his plate. And everything and to the other point about Jaden Roberts, this is another good sign that we're starting to kind of dig into some more depth with the offensive line because we just kind of
number 1 recruiting classes,
right? Yeah. So
out there, man, what's going on?
Yeah. So I do like the fact that you did get Jaden Roberts there, and Coach Saban talked about. So Coach Saban, you can never ask him about the offensive line after the game because. And I get that because if you've ever played football, we have a much better vantage point from the stands than Coach does from the sidelines. Like you can see different things from the sidelines. You can see quarterback play, of course, or wide receivers from the sidelines, but you can't tell anything from the trenches, from the field level. Nothing at all. So,
Cal, I will say this, Cal. You best believe he had his eyes on that first game starter out there. Now it might not have been like how we had him. But until he knew he could hold on, he was out there watching Roberts. But, it's A&M. It's the best D-line in the nation. We all know it's your first start. And look, I'm going to say it again. Hey, I hope he hear this. Jaden Roberts, to me, because I'm a football, like, small things about football love. That's my player of the game. To come in there against the best D-line in the nation, don't give up a sack. Hey, bro, you are just as responsible for 300 as Milroe, because we all know if you get pressure up the middle, nothing works.
Yep.
So I want to say this one thing. I'm gonna let you go, man. And this is funny. No, not the Malachi Moore, not none whatsoever. But we know Terry Arnold is the best cover guy on our team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So it's just so weird when Malachi went out and Arnold went to the nickel, and we brought Amos in to play corner. Hey, look, I hope he get well. But we was a better cover team when that happened.
Yep.
It's just because it's Arnold. You know what I'm saying? Arnold is probably the best DB in the nation. So it's just weird that, like I said, Malachi, he's the energy. He's good when it comes to run, but he's not Arnold in pass coverage. Nobody is. I don't think that's really kind of fair to say, but I thought it was kind of weird how we kind of upgraded in the pass coverage, when Malachi went down. I want to give a shout out to the D-line. I've been harping on I've been harping on Freddie Roach about 2 years. I haven't been liking what I've been seeing, but the D-line, it showed today. If we have a game that's big enough, they'll get ready to play. You know what I'm saying? They'll come out. They'll play hard. But like I said, I'm excited for the progression we're seeing in Miro. We're really seeing a guy who went for 100 yards against a sorry defense to damn near 350 against a top 2 defense. So I think we have a championship team, man. Matter of fact, I know we do. We have a championship team. I'm pretty sure we're going to win it this year because we have a defense-led team. Any year we won a chip here is because the defense was led. Even when we had Matt Jones, outside the Matt Jones year, Matt Jones was a offensive-led unit. More so that was like an LSU type team we had that year with Matt. But any other tip out of that, it was led by the defense. So I think we're going to win it this year, Kyle. Appreciate you taking my call, dog.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. We will go back to the phone lines. That was G calling out from Raleigh. I appreciate the call. We got a 470-919 and a 334. Believe these are the updated AP rankings. What's throwing me off right here is it doesn't have I'll make this full screen and we'll walk you through it. I'll get to my next callers in just a second. It just doesn't have – it says USC versus Colorado 48. So maybe because the game was late, it didn't get updated on this particular screen, but it has Alabama at number 11, and it does have this updated with the 26-20 victory. So let's go to the top. This looks like the new AP rankings. And again, the first college football playoff rankings will be out on Halloween, which will be Coach Saban's 72nd birthday. So maybe we'll have some Little Debbies, and we will have our playoff football show. Georgia, number 1, following a 51-13 victory over previously unranked Kentucky. Number 2 is Michigan, 6-0 on the season, defeating Minnesota 52-10. I think Michigan has the number 1 defense in the country. They're allowing like 6 points a game or something ridiculous like that. Then again, their schedule, Georgia and Michigan, their schedules have been, you could say they've been light. Georgia had to come from behind to beat Auburn. Kentucky, I don't know how many people were serious, with Kentucky being undefeated. But anyways, they did what they had to do, 51-13. Number 3 is Ohio State. They defeated Maryland. That game was 17-17 for a while. I don't know if you guys saw that. The quarterback for Maryland is Talia Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother. Florida State defeated Virginia Tech 39-17. Now 5-0, and they are number 4. So Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Florida State. Number 5, Oklahoma jumps up 7 spots in the AP poll after defeating Texas 34-30. And the Sooners now 6-0 on the season. Penn State is 5-0. Last victory is against Northwestern, winning 41-13. And then you have Washington, who is idle, as well as Oregon. Each of those teams are 5-0 on the season. Texas drops 6 spots following their loss to Oklahoma. They are now number 9. And then you have USC, who had to survive against Arizona. Believe that game was in 3 overtimes, right? And then you have Alabama, who defeated Texas A&M. Look, these rankings don't mean anything, and this is fine for right now. But before I take my next callers, let me just talk about the AP real quick. Okay, so Georgia probably remain unbeaten. I think that they have a pretty favorable schedule. Michigan still has to play Ohio State and Penn State. Florida State and as I said, Ohio State has to play Michigan and Penn State. Florida State seems like they're always a touchdown away from either winning or losing. This team should already have 2 losses on the season, in my opinion, to Clemson and to Boston College. Clemson should have beat them. They missed a field goal. Oklahoma, I guess they could potentially, run the table, but they're going to have to probably play Texas again in the Big 12 championship. Penn State still have to play Michigan and Ohio State. Washington and Oregon play this coming weekend. Texas loses their first game, and USC survives against Arizona, still has to play all the teams in the Pac-12. And then Alabama defeats Texas A&M, and then North Carolina 5-0, followed by Ole Miss. And now Louisville, who jumped up 11 spots after beating Notre Dame 33-20. So there is your updated AP poll. What's going on? My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me. We go right back to the phone lines, and we go with the 470 starting right now. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's Chance from Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Chance? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, what's up, man? I wonder if Nia Smith still knows what Saban wants.
Terry and Arnold tweeted after the game that he found out, and it was basically a simple W.
Oh, dude, they were chirping at each other the whole game. Like, it was hilarious. But man, that was just probably the best game I've seen in a while. Just on our end, I was just excited. On all 3 phases. Defense did great, offense did great, special teams did great. I wish Dallas would have just kept his emotions in check and wouldn't have touched that guy, because that would have took it up. That would have been even better. But yeah, man, that was just so much fun to watch.
What do you think? I just went. I know the polls are meaningless, I guess, but to still see Alabama at 11. Are you surprised by that?
I am a little bit, but you know, like they're not going to show Bama no love, man. They looked at the penalties. They just like, you know, they're not going to show us no love. I am a little surprised. I figured we'd jump up a little bit, but that's all right. That's okay. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
So what was your?
Caleb Downs is going to have an interception.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing at such a high level. I mean, the guys, it's crazy. So Chris Lowe of ESPN, who has a kind of like a hotline to Coach Saban, he's one of the only people that Coach Saban talks to media-wise. He said that Saban told him he has the opportunity, he has the makings to be the best safety ever that Coach Saban has coached. Best safety ever.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that Texas game, he was like when he got back to practice Monday, he was like, yeah, screw this noise, no more. They're not doing this to me, no more. So yeah, yeah.
What about the play of Jalen Milroe? How have you seen the kind of that trend, and what are your thoughts of his play? 321 yesterday against Texas A&M.
Oh, he balled out, man. I mean, he took some shots too. But he stood in there and took them and got the ball down the field. I mean, you really can't say nothing bad about it. I've accepted the fact that the chances of him throwing interceptions or an interception every game is probably kind of high, that it might happen. But it's all about playing the next play, and that's what he did. He just played the next play. And that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm just happy for him, you know. And how about my boy Jermaine Burton? Like, come on, Jermaine Burton.
Yeah,
I mean, so many people hated him, and I wasn't a fan of him, you know, like, and it wasn't nothing personal towards him. It was just that, you know, like, I mean, we've been spoiled. We've been spoiled with Cooper and Judy and Calvin Ridley and Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs. We've been spoiled to all these, and I think we got a squad like that in the receiver room. I know we do.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
But it's like one of your callers said a minute ago, like, Jalen's just not there yet, and he's not. And it's not his fault, but, like, you give him a good starting year in this system, next year, you'd see a totally different player. Everybody would eat. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just, it was awesome, man. Jimbo, he, you know, and I guess he is on the hot seat.
Well, that's what I said. I said going into this game, I felt that Jimbo needed to win that to basically say, look, to the boosters, to everybody else, I still can steer this ship to where it needs to go. He's not going to make the playoffs again.
Right.
He's never made the playoffs while he's been at Texas A&M. There was that 1 year in 2020 where they probably should have been in the playoffs, but they didn't make it. So what has he done? Honestly. I mean, he's
had a number one recruiting class. That's it. A recruiting class. That's
right.
Half of them went in the portal and left.
So, I mean, when you start to look at that, you know, I think one of my last shows, I brought that up as well. And they said that, Texas A&M can't afford to buy out, Jimbo, whatever. I don't know any of the numbers, but I know that Texas A&M has.
I don't believe that.
That's what I said. I think they have. I think they have enough money to do whatever they want to do. I think Texas A&M, if they want to become their own country, they could just become their own country. Like, they have so much money, it's ridiculous. Them in Texas. So I think if they wanted to do whatever they can, they could probably go after, like, Coach Prime if they really wanted to. Anything else, Chance? I got you on the line?
If we dug any deeper into Jimbo, like, he's got his national title that he had with Florida State. But all he did was inherit Bobby Bowden's football squad. That's all he did. Like, he didn't really build that team up. Like, that was already there when he got there. That's just like if you brought a coach in tomorrow, say Saban retired tomorrow, or at the end of the season you 100%, brought a coach in, and he done good for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really would be Nick Saban's squad. But anyways, yeah, I'm sick of Jimbo. I'm sick of hearing about you. But no, I ain't got much else, man. I just wanted to jump on the phone with you and holler at you. I was excited to get to talk to you about it. I was just excited the way they played. Defense playing lights out, and people saying that Like, you got a couple of other podcasts like Bama Standard and Stephen A. Smith and all them, and they're always talking like, oh, we need the defensive coordinator down there on the sideline. We need Tommy Reese on the sideline, blah, 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 blah. That'll make a world of difference. That defense was humming. Kevin Steele did not need to come down from no press box to get them boys humming like they were. I mean, Max Johnson didn't. All he did was see dirt all season long. If he would have had a white jersey on, it would have been green by the end of that game. Like, my shout out to all, and Justin Igboibe, what a game,
Hell
man.
Yeah.
Like, that dude
Yes.
has waited his turn.
Yes.
And he's just waited, and injuries plagued him, but he balled out. He got that safety. Like, oh my God, like everything that could happen happened in that game. It was just awesome. It was awesome to watch.
Thanks for bringing up Justin Ebogbe, because same thing. I thought him and Tim Keenan, I mean, they're playing like that was Justin Ebogbe's best game that he's ever had, and I think that was his 50th all-time game at the University of Alabama. So Will Reichert has played in the most games out of anybody on the roster, and then Justin Ebogbe is right behind him. So yeah, it was really good. And I've always thought he was great. And maybe not great, but capable of playing at a very high level. And yesterday we saw that. So him playing at a very high level along with Jaheim Otis. There's a slowed down clip on Twitter that's floating around, and it's Alabama's defensive line is just literally like Texas A&M guys are like just flying on their backs, and it's a slow-mo of like Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan running at the quarterback, and then Dallas Turner's on the outside. So you had Dallas Turner, Jaheim Otis, and Tim Keenan all land on Max Johnson at the same time. Johnson's probably in some Epsom salt right now. But Chance, I appreciate you calling in, man. Please call again next time.
Oh, I will, dude. I'm a weekly caller, man, so you'll get familiar with me for sure.
Good stuff, man. All right, see you next time. Late.
All right, brother. Peace.
We got a 919, a 334, and a 205 inside the call queue. Top wide receiver. Someone just asked me the top wide receivers in the country in terms of like units from teams. I don't know who the fifth would be, but I'm just, I hadn't had a chance to think about this. But I thought that was a good question. I would say Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Texas A&M, Evan Stewart, Musa Muhammad. That guy's a baller. Nia Smith. Those guys are really good. Texas, you look at the guys that they have. Ohio State, of course. Who would that be that fifth team in terms of who has elite wide receivers? Sound off inside the comment box. We go back to the phone lines and 919, and we start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
You're on the line with G, calling in from Phoenix, Arizona.
I appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks for calling in again. And what's on your mind, man?
What's up, man? I just wanted to say yesterday was a great game, very competitive. Both teams played hard. And Alabama came out with the victory. I want people to understand that Alabama ain't going to beat every team by 60. And I think people have a misrepresentation when they say, oh, Alabama is not good because they didn't win by 40. And it's like, man, these guys is playing competitive teams, other programs that has great players too. And so we can't expect every game to be a blowout and Bama to win by 60 every game. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. But they played well. There are some things that do need to be cleaned up. The penalties was an issue yesterday. Shot ourselves in the foot on the offensive end with the false starts and the different penalties. But Alabama defense is elite. Mm-hmm. It's the most elite defense I have seen from Alabama in the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that the defense is going to carry the team. And I've always been a fan of this. Defense wins championships, offense sells tickets.
The defense has been – so the offense is getting better, right? We've talked about that. The defense has not only been consistent, they're also getting better, which is a scary thing for the rest of the world of college football. And just like our last caller said, it doesn't matter necessarily who's in the box or who's on the field. Like, that defense is just doing a damn good job getting to the quarterback, wrapping up, playing, these very dangerous wide receivers that they continue to face. Think about it. I just said inside the comment box, they might have faced, think about the guys they faced. They faced Texas, that wide receiving core. They faced Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian, and they faced all those wide receivers from Texas A&M, right? Like this defense is, they're playing. Is this the best defense that we've seen within the last 3 or 4 years? It might be,
sir.
right? Right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because I remember watching, even 2 years ago, Alabama was, they definitely struggled on defense. When we had Bryce Young, we were just really outscoring teams.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of issues in our secondary, like when Bryce Young, so we had a team that was carried by our offense for the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see, Kevin Steele come over and change the whole identity of that defense. That defense is elite, man. I'm happy with the defensive line. Man, Tim Keenan, man, he out there wreaking havoc.
I know.
He is out there playing well, man. I don't think people. I played offensive line and D line when I was in college and high school.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand, man. He's out there wreaking havoc.
He is. Yes.
He might not be as big, but he's quick. He's strong. Man, that defense is. I'm happy with that defense, man. And I think that's what Alabama can. I think Alabama can basically hold that as they crutch, and the offense will continue to get better. We see Milroe getting better every week.
Mm-hmm.
Making better decisions. I know he threw a pick yesterday, but I think we got a good enough defense to overcome a turnover. But like even the game in Texas, Milroe, you take away one of them picks, it's a tie game. He threw 2 picks on our side of the field, which gave Texas great field position. So he take away one of those picks, one of those turnovers against Texas. It's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the offense will continue to get better and build. And you can only expect that because, you lose Bryce Young, you lose all these great guys offensively. Sometimes you have to rebuild, and I think that's what Nick and them is doing. But it's great, man. I like Alabama. I still think that they have championship aspirations. I think they can win the rest of their schedule. I don't see anybody truly being a threat to Alabama. I know a caller said earlier, Tennessee. I think Tennessee might be the toughest matchup, but I feel like other than that, I feel like Alabama can win the rest of their games. And I also feel like they can beat Georgia. Georgia hasn't really looked elite like they did the past 2 years. So I definitely think Alabama and that defense could definitely make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you as well. I think that it's going to be Georgia that stands in front of this team along with this team itself. I mean, if this team can limit turnovers and penalties, this team goes and challenges Georgia for everything that Georgia has, 100%. Hey, well, I appreciate the call. Please call again next time, and I'll catch up with you on our next show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kyle, for having me.
All right, man. Absolutely, man. Roll Tide to you. Have the season stats posted. I'll get to my next callers in just a second. Let's run through the stats right now. Through 6 games played, Jalen Milroe has played in 5 of those games. He is 75 of 111, 67.6 percentage passing, 1,100 yards with 9 touchdowns. And I believe this graph doesn't show. I don't think it shows the interceptions that he has. What does he have? 4 interceptions on the season? So that is for Jalen Milroe. Receiving wise, I cut it off after Kobe Prentice, who we did see finally yesterday catch a pass. But Isaiah Bond has 19 receptions for 275 yards with 2 touchdowns. Jermaine Burton has 17 receptions for 386 yards with 4 touchdowns. Yesterday, he caught for 196 yards. Rushing wise for Alabama, Jace McClellan has a net total of 371 yards, which leads the team, followed by Roydell Williams, 251 yards, and then Jalen Milroe with 158 yards. Actually 4 rushing touchdowns as well. Those are the season statistics for Alabama when rushing the football. We go back to the phone lines, and we got a 334, and we start right now. Hey, thank you very much for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Hunter from Alabama.
Hunter, what's up, man? I appreciate you being patient, man. What's on your mind, man? Take it away. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, yeah, great game. I just think, imagine if I was telling somebody this yesterday, what if you took away all those penalties? What if we didn't have those mental errors?
Mm-hmm.
And what this team can do, if we didn't have all these penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the Jalen Milroe that I think that I knew he could be. And I've been saying from week one that we should open up the passing game and really, make passes down the field. And then those slants and other routes in the passing game will open up. And I understand trying to run it and be more aggressive with the run, but you've seen what we were able to do in the second half once we really, started to open up the passing game, what that allowed us to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that as the passing game progresses, this team is as good as any team in the country. And those were wideouts, as I said earlier in the show. Like the play that we saw from Burton and Bond yesterday, that kind of reminded me of what we're used to. And that kind of dipped. We didn't necessarily see that last year. But we're seeing it at a good time right now. And if we can continue to see more guys get involved within that passing scheme, the Amari Nyblacks, Kobe Prentice, different things that, different elements that are going to be added to this offense. And look, Texas A&M, that was a good team. This was a great win. That's why I get it. The rankings don't mean really anything, but I love that victory, and I would have thought they would have gotten a little bit more kind of kudos in that AP poll. Then again, we won't be talking about the AP poll here, at the end of this month once again, but just to kind of see the outside perspective, people still aren't necessarily buying into this Alabama program, which is fine because that's continued reverse rat poison for everyone in the locker room. The first thing that I do if I'm Coach Saban is I'm like, look, you guys are still number 11. Nobody believes in you because you can't have these trap games going into the next part of this gauntlet. Arkansas, they can beat you 100%. Tennessee can beat you too. And guess what? LSU, they would love to beat you for the second consecutive season. So this is not the time to kind of get consistent and be like, okay, we're starting to beat teams. No. Like all gas. Continue to go heavy, continue to improve because you got to go into this team. This next game against Arkansas is critical. Especially, you can't let it be an emotional hangover and come in and play like crap against Arkansas because they will beat you. Sam Pittman, he's a good enough coach and they have a good enough quarterback that they will beat you. They almost beat Alabama last year. Was it last year or the year before?
Well, this win wasn't pretty. So it's not like we just went in there and just had a dominant performance. So where their heads are going to be really, really big. I think that's something that Nick Saban's going to point out throughout this week is you can't be sloppy against these teams that we have coming up, or they can beat you. You can be beat.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the thing. That's the thing is you've got to stay humble. You've got to stay remain hungry, and eliminate those. The good thing is all of our hard games from here on out are at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good thing. We ain't got to go into a hostile environment. A&M is a very hard place to play. So I mean, we got to give them guys credit for battling through that. And this team still has everything to play for right in front of them. So
I'm looking at the screen right now, Hunter. Alabama last year was 49-26, and that was with Jalen Milroe stepping in for Bryce Young when he went down with that shoulder injury. But the year before, that game was in Tuscaloosa, and that game was a wild one with Alabama defeating Arkansas by 42, by 7 points. It was 42-35, and that's when Sam Pittman came in, was in 2021. So those games have been much tighter than the games previous to that. Now you see that Arkansas has not beat you can't slip in this game because that quarterback is certainly dangerous, and some of the weapons that they have as well. Kiltack with a 20 spot on the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. He says it's a bit concerning that we can only either pass or run per game. Need to be more balanced, but I really enjoy the defense. Yeah, fair point. And you want to see that balance when you're looking at Alabama's offense. With that said, I think the entire plan for Jimbo Fisher was make Jalen Milroe beat us here at our house. Make him throw to beat him at our house. Let's have the 12th man, and they were able to do that 100%. But definitely want to see more balance going forward. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. What else is on your mind, Hunter, when you look at this team now, 5-1, ranked number 11 in the AP poll as we turn towards Arkansas?
Man, I'll tell you, a player that sticks out, and I've heard some other callers talk about it, I don't think this guy can be talked about enough, is Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, that kid, true freshman, coming in, you talk about somebody that was able to be, sometimes we talk about guys that are bust. This guy is everything that he lived up to hype. So
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was hyping him up to be in high school, and he's just, he was one of those guys like Minka who just came in and was everything that we expected him to be. So, I mean, wow. I mean, this kid just amazes me every time I watch him play, see what he can do as a true freshman. So, my hope is with him is that he becomes a leader in this team and rises all the other guys around him to be the players to their full potential.
100%.
We still got a lot of guys on the secondary, young guys that are going to be I think can be very, very good for us. I mean, we got some veteran guys, like Terrion and Kool-Aid, but there's some guys up right behind them that have the chance to be just as good as they are. So, we loaded at the edge position. We still have some things to be very optimistic about, going forward. I think we still got some depth on both of those sides, on both those positions. So let's continue rolling and, just take it one game at a time. It's a one-game season.
Yeah, 100%. That's such a great point. It is a one-game season, especially with a loss already on your belt. Like, you don't look at the gauntlet. That's for us to do. But if this team, what you do is you focus on Arkansas, and that's it. That's the only team that exists right now is Arkansas. And you win the first quarter, the second quarter, the third, and the fourth, and you move on. That's it, 100%. I appreciate the great point. Anything else, Hunter, while we have you on?
No, I just think, I was hoping that we would start to see Justice Haynes a little bit. Where are the other younger guys, Jan Miller? Where are those guys in the running game? I understand that Waddell and Jace are our main guys, but I thought they would start to get to see some snaps, and maybe that's coming. Maybe we're not in a position in games to where the coaching staff feels like they can put those guys on the field. But I'm hoping that those guys are able to get some experience, some game time this season, because come next year, we're going to need those guys, and we're going to rely on those guys. So, I
think the reason that you're going to see new guys get in and contribute, but this is so critical right now that there's no messing around. There's no okay, we're going to go to the third and the fourth string guy or whatever, and those guys will play. Justice Haynes got in against Mississippi State. They might spot play, but it's okay. Right now, the main thing is winning for the team. And because I would have thought, you might see some of these guys get onto the field, and they will. It's kind of the depth chart right now and where these guys are out. No one's going to surpass Jace, Roydell, but you're only one play away from being the guy. Hunter, I appreciate you calling in, man. I know you've been a long-time caller. We got to get you a special badge or something like that, man. But I appreciate you calling in, and please call again next time.
All right, man. Will do. Appreciate your call.
All right, man. See ya. I wonder if there's an emoji con that I could put on the call line at the bottom for people who continue to call in, kind of some sort of a symbol that means it's a repeat caller. I'll think about that with my creative team. We got a 205 at 334 and a 678. I haven't even seen any NFL games. Tonight, the 49ers play the Dallas Cowboys. Watching that game, I haven't even seen what the line is, but I'm excited to see if the Niners can continue to keep it rolling. We go back to the phone lines with the 205, and we start right now. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Uncle Charles, Kyle, how you doing, bro?
What's up, Uncle Charles? I appreciate you calling in, man. Everybody's always excited when you call in. Alabama now 5-1 on the season. Milroe throws for 321, 14 penalties for 99 yards. But the good news is Jermaine Burton came through. Welcome to the show, Uncle Charles.
Man, let me tell you something. Alabama offensive line need to be on the daytime soaps because I was happy and then I was sad. I said to myself, this offensive line, it need to be taken to the back room and delivered. They need a pastor, a pope, a priest. They need a teacher. They need all that because this offensive line is possessed. Then I saw the tight end jump offside, raise his hand, and then he come back to the next play and jump offside again, raise his hand. I said, would you stop telling on yourself? Would you stop doing that, please? I'm happy for the win. But then I was sad. I spent most of my time in the bathroom because I couldn't look at the next play. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't take it no more. Made my pressure go through the roof. Let me tell you something, man. We saw the real Milrose yesterday. He could play. He got a few deficiencies, but I swear to God, man, he was running like he was running from the police. Man, y'all got to block for this kid. Please block for this kid, man. He was running. He like somebody told him some bad news. Man, please block for this guy. This offensive line just would not be still. I bet it was some buttermilk biscuits and some sugar donuts on the other side of that line, you'll be still. It's called discipline. Now, do you think Bear Bryant would have put up with this deficiency on offense? No. Let me tell you something. You know why Bear Bryant wouldn't have did that? Because I'm going to tell you something. When they ran out on the field, where did Bear Bryant go? He went right there to that goal post and kicked his leg behind his leg and put his head down on his eye. And they said, Coach, the game's going to start in a minute. He said, okay, go ahead. You better leave him alone because, Bear Bryant was a little gangster. He don't play that mess. Let me tell you something, man. We need some old school teaching on this offensive line. I'm happy for the win, but I couldn't sleep last night. Yeah, I'm happy, but I can't sleep. Now you tell me how I'm going to get some sleep after saying that. We won the game, that's fine, but we got to keep improving on the offensive side of the ball. The defense showed up. Our wide receivers showed up. But this offensive line, I'm telling you, y'all got to get up off these buttermilk biscuits, man. Y'all got to learn how to settle down and block. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Let me say this in close. Discipline is one thing, and telling somebody they're wrong is enough. Man, my mama needs to be offensive coach or this offensive line because she went right up there to that store up there and got some dollar cookies up there. Vanilla, grape, all kinds of color cookies. And it was numbered a penny a piece. And she come home and she put them in the jar and said, don't nobody mess with these cookies before dinner. Then my mom went to the grocery store and we thought it was beneficial for us to go in there and get us 5 cookies. Well, my mama showed back up at home and she didn't say anything. She put the groceries up and then she proceeded to pour those cookies out on the table. She counted every last one of them cookies until she got to 95. And when she got to 95, I know our faith was sealed. And my mama said, go out there and get me a switch and tie it together and dip it in some water. Let me tell y'all something. If you don't know Alabama Nation, you ain't got a whooping unless you got a whooping by some switches dipped in water. You just think you don't know what that is. But I'm here to tell you, it don't feel good. Roll Tide roll. That's all I got to say. And that offensive line, Lord, please pray for him. I was on the floor. Then I was sitting in the chair. Then I went outside. I saw that man thought I was crazy out there talking to myself. And that man said, he needs some help. Yeah, I sure do, because Alabama about to mess me up in here. And that's all I got to say, Charles. They got to go into the next game inspired and ready to play and ready to throw down. This is not a game. This is serious business. Alabama don't play. We don't play. We show up, we show out. And that's all I got to say.
All right, Uncle Charles. I appreciate you calling in. Roll Tide to you. Prayers for who has to follow Uncle Charles, right? Uncle Charles with the cookie story. I appreciate Uncle Charles calling in. Everybody loves Uncle Charles. I was waiting. We're always waiting for Uncle Charles to call in on Sundays, and it finally came through. Thank you, Uncle Charles, for calling in. Appreciate it. It's like the Uncle Charles Sunday sermon that we get. That's a blessing. Those calls are a blessing. Your calls, I appreciate you guys calling in and spending your Sunday with me. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. If you don't get in the call line right now, I will have my second show, which I have tonight at 7 p.m. You guys can call in then and we can rap more about Alabama football. Of course, I'll have the 49ers game going on in the background. This will be my last call that I'm going to take for my daytime show, but you guys can call in tonight. So 678 and 337. I don't want you guys to hang on so you guys can hang up. I'm going to take the 334 right now, and I will get to you guys tonight. So if I didn't get you in, no hard feelings. I'll just get with you guys next time. So 678, you can hang up now. 334, let's do it. And we're starting right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Man, this Coach Flowers Daniel from Calera.
Hey, what's up, Coach Daniel? How you doing, man? I appreciate you calling in again. Milroe throws for 321. Penalties, 9 pre-snap penalties, Coach. I mean, look, you know the game. You've seen the game. 9 pre-snap penalties is just unacceptable, and it's really hard to fathom that this team still came out on top with 9 pre-snap penalties.
Oh, yeah. First, let's back up. We talked about on Thursday. I told you after the game, we're going to start talking Heisman talk after the game for Milroe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right. I said either he's going to barbecue, he's going to mildew. And I had a feeling, I said, they got to throw the football. Mm-hmm. And them going to line that box up with 6 and 7 guys. Mm-hmm. We got to put the football. The only way we're going to be able to have some success is Milroe play like a Heisman quarterback. He did exactly what he's supposed to do. Now, again, I hate O-line. Like, O-line, they had spot times they did well, but it's not all about our O-line. A&M got a good front seven. They front seven damn good. Even Nick Saban said that. Them guys was hitting our O-line in the mouth, was getting whiplash. I mean, I watched our O-line was getting hit back on the run game. I was just happy sometimes they actually held up for the pass game. Because A&M had some grown men on their defensive line. And again, we finished outside, but you expect that. We all knew that when we came in the game. I said, we got less than 10 false starts, we'll be fine. College Station, they had 108,000 folks there. A lot of them kids are young still. It's hard to do a solid count consistently for 80 plays in the game. It's hard. Think about it. You don't know what you got to look at the ball and see the snap. But you got a grown man in front of you barking, crying at you. You keep moving left and right. Yeah, it's going to cause you to flinch. I mean, yeah, I played football myself. And it's kind of hard to play when you got a solid count. Yeah, it's undisciplined, but a lot of it got to do with A&M made us undisciplined. I mean, like some of the stuff we did well, we made A&M look bad. So I'm not going to say everything that the O-line did was all the O-line fault. A&M has something to do with that.
Coach, when we break down this game, the play of Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Bond, like those guys, and seeing them rise up and play like rideouts, can you speak about that? Because I felt like we've been in like you had some points that turned out to be true. So did I. I was watching my shows last night. I was sending them to my dad. I was like, look, I was spot on the money. Because I knew that it was just a matter of time till they started getting the football. Go back and watch my other shows. I was calling out. I said, hats off to Burton. Get the ball to Burton. Get the ball to Bonds, and watch for Tim Keenan. And what did those guys do? Those are each of the 3 guys. What were you thinking when you continue to see Burton make those contested catches and kind of look like he's playing? I said this in my beginning show. Like he's pissed off for greatness. The dude wants to prove. He's like you like I'm here. I'm a rideout.
Yeah, I told you, go back to the show again. You asked me, who's my player you got to get the ball to? I said Jermaine Burton.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog player. He's mean as hell. Yeah, he do a lot of jaw jacking, but that guy's mean.
Yeah.
He's fierce. I never seen, like they said on CBS Sports, I never seen a light-skinned receiver be that mean playing football. That guy's mean. Every time he catch the ball, he's jaw jacking. He getting their grill. He talking mess to him. I love to see that. You need some dogs on your team. And I said, Isaiah Bud, right behind him. And I said, but if we're going to win the game, the X-Factor was Jalen Milroe. If he play with everybody like, oh, well, I said, if we lose the game, I said it was because of the offensive line. So we lost that game. It would have been because of them. Again, they still get a little bit better every week. I'm not going to say that they just had a trash game. They get a little bit better. But again, let's back it up again. The reason why they played bad is because A&M was pretty good, too. A&M defensive front was good. Then I watched them, like I said, whip flash our guys. I'm like, oh, my God, there's some man out there. Again, there's no disrespect to the O-line. It is A&M O-line, D-line was good. And their O-line was weak. And I said it for the game. I'm like, our D-line going to go crazy on them because their O-line not that good. Because they spend all their money on the defensive line. That's like getting back from Nick Saban and said, well, you think they pay for all their players. Yeah, but their D-line was really good. And again, we had some good runs by McQuillan. Yeah, he didn't have the 100-yard rushing game. I saw some good runs by him. Yeah. Like them 2-3-yard runs he was having, those good runs where he was making it happen by himself.
Yeah,
and again,
you know what, Coach? So like, Alabama, their official Twitter account released some highlights of the game, kind of like a quick rewatch. It was like 2 minutes, but just like you said, like the first couple of runs that they showed were from Jace. He is getting to the second level against a very good front seven. He's been doing he runs so hard and he runs downfield. He doesn't spend a lot of time dancing. He runs straight. He'll make you miss. He can cut, but for the most part, he's a downhill runner.
And I've been really mad about Tommy Reese. I'm going to give him some credit. He finally said, hell, I'm taking the handcuffs off Milroe. I'm going to let Milroe play. And I was like, thank God he finally did it. I don't know if Saban liked it or what, but we're going to win this game. Miro got to throw the ball between 25 and 30 times. Because at one time, it was looking like we were banging our head against the wall. Like we just kept trying to run the football. I'm like, it's not working. It's 1 yard game. Pound, push us back. I'm like, okay, Mr. Tommy Reese, throw the football, please. I'm like, you got to throw the airplane. If Miro have 2 or 3 interceptions, we know why he got 2 or 3 interceptions. Because they had to throw the ball. And when you throw the ball a lot, you got to stay for interception. That's just plain and simple. Look at the NFL right now. If you get a quarterback throw the ball 45 times, he's going to have at least 1 or 2 interceptions. It's hard to be perfect on 40 throws. And the interception he threw, that one on Milroe. I run that same exact route with my tight end. It's a seam route. You don't bend the seam route inside unless the ball will take you inside. Not Black bent that route inside. That cost Milroe throw the interception. Because Milroe saw him. He supposed to kept paying to the outside. Then again, Not Black should have jumped up for the football and been aggressive toward the football. I guarantee you, if that was Jermaine Burton, that would not have been an interception. Because he going to high point the football. Not Black tried to let the ball come down the hill. And again, I said, you got to help the quarterback out. In the first half, I feel like until Burton started catching the ball, the receivers were helping the quarterback out. Yeah, the balls was a little high sometimes. But when you got a quarterback, got 7 grown men coming in every single play, you got to do whatever you got to do to help that guy out. Because he was getting killed back there. He was running for his life. You would have thought Miller was running for the police or something. I'm like, oh, my God. He can't run because they had a spy on one side. Then they'll bring a corner from the other side. But listen, so Miller cannot run. Everybody, why don't you just run? Where you going to run to? The interior line was getting whooped. They had them a 45 spot on either the right or the left side. Then they're bringing a corner blitz. So they was making Alabama throw the football. And I said, Miro to me played like a Heisman candidate yesterday. If you look back at the small stuff he did, he keep getting better. He gonna win the Heisman this year. Miro is. He gonna be a great story.
That the sack that he took from the corner, he got smashed, and then you're right, like they spot him.
Yes.
And you know, like that guy's an elite athlete too on the defensive side. Like if you can catch Milroe, I mean, look, like those Texas A&M has the guys. That's why I kind of go back to Jimbo Fisher. It's mind blowing to me that with all that talent, that atmosphere, unlimited NIL money, that he still hasn't gotten them into the playoffs or or at that level. It's perplexing to me. That team had so much talent on offense. The quarterback would kind of go up and down. He missed on some throws. The other quarterbacks, he's better, whatever. But man, like that was a tough environment. That win catapults Alabama, to where they need to go. But I appreciate you calling in, Coach. And I have another show, man. If you want to wrap tonight, man, feel free to call in again.
We will. I hit you up tonight, man.
All right, man.
I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me for my daytime show right here on Bama Football on YouTube. 93,000 subscribers. The goal is to get to 100,000 subscribers by December. So hit the subscribe button. I'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I really appreciate your guys' support, and the super chats mean such a great deal to show your support for the channel right here, Bama Football on YouTube. Tons of coverage right here on our YouTube channel. We got Jimbo's press conference, Coach Saban, Anais Smith, and much more coming your way right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. right here on Bama Football on YouTube.